really happened. Because if I am going to do the inspection and see that this understudy did not happen, the operator already benefited from the foreign skill. Namibia did not benefit. So the stakeholder should be kept responsible up to the last end. And there should be no leniency when it comes to stakeholders to keep them responsible. And the other thing is, to make this a success, this policy is very good. Because I read through the document, and I said to myself, if we have a breakthrough in this policy for this petroleum, we can have a breakthrough for this mining sectors, whoever comes. But still, it comes back to me as an individual that sits in my office that needs to make sure that the law is implemented. If this policy fails, then it's me who make this policy failed. Because there is laws. There is sections that says, Adelaide Jacobs, you must stand up and go to operator A, because operator A did not comply. There is penalties for operator A. Adelaide Jacobs stands up from her office, go to operator A and go and negotiate. What am I going to negotiate? There's nothing for me to go and negotiate. I must go and tell operator A, this is your penalty and you need to pay. But I go and negotiate. So as officials that sit in offices, I will plea once again today, let us change our attitude towards the work that we need to do, that we are paid for in our offices. I cannot, as a labor inspector or as an arbitrator, go and negotiate with a company while I know I need to do my work and say to company A, but this is where you are wrong and this is what I'm going to do. This is where our laws and policies are failing. And then we are saying government is failing. Who is government? Is us. We are appointed as government officials in offices to do our work that we are paid for. Let's change the tendency. From today on, I plea again, once again, to my government officials. Let's change our attitude. This is a very good thing that will benefit us and our children coming. So I would like us to strongly look into the monitoring and evaluation parts of these things. I thank you.
I think for us from our side, we can't really comment because it was very clear. That is an instruction that we have to take at heart, and it is very valuable. Thank you so much once again.
And maybe just to give you an example of what is happening on that point in Ghana. If in Ghana you employ an expert without the proper approvals in place, the penalty that they give you as an operator is the salary of that expert times 12 months. You pay that as a penalty to the regulator. If you are paying your expert $100,000 per month, so your penalty will be 1.2. So that's deterring. The operators are deterred from doing that. So it's a good contribution, and these are the things we are looking at.
Good afternoon. Sorry, my voice is not so good because of the fever. I just want to contribute two things. The first one is, I wanted to talk in the beginning. I have a little bit concern about the dissemination of information. Maybe the other colleagues get the policy in time, in a reasonable time, but I got mine only this morning. And it's very difficult to contribute meaningfully if the time slot is so little. I think it's our right to have the policies in time, study it through, to contribute meaningfully. So I hope you will rectify that. That is my plea. On the other issue, on the policy issue, the policy is a little bit silent. I'm sorry, my name is Vali Humphreys. I'm representing the Khawa Traditional Authority. The policy is a little bit silent on the direct benefits from the petroleum on to the communities. I just want to find out, how do you want to ensure that the communities, local authorities, regional councils, and all the stakeholders that are at the grassroots levels, working with people, and they are expected to ensure the well-being of the communities at local levels, get benefit so that they can uplift the living standards of the communities at the local levels. The other thing that you also mentioned is, you just mentioned it, but I took it very serious. It's about the scramble of natural resources in Africa from Europe. If you read through the whole chapter, then it's not just an example. It's true history that happened. Those people sit down and planned how to invade Africa, how to take natural resources, how to kill people, how to depossess people's livelihoods, how to take land. Yet, the same people are coming back again, and they are coming with investment. And we are saying, we are only, from this investment, we must upskill the people, we must capacitate the people, service and goods. Those are employment, those are the smaller things that we are talking about. But in a broader sense, we must look at how do we ensure to get ownership back? How do we ensure to have shareholding in these big companies? That policy, this policy is lacking that. So we must go and research again and rethink again. And when the validation workshop is coming, those things must come into the policy. I thank you.
Thank you very much for that contribution. We have another hand over here. I'll give over the mic.
Let's just respond quickly.
I think the last part was more of a contribution, right? On how we should look into having Africans benefit from the resources. And that's a whole idea of the local content policy. So that's a good contribution, it's noted. And on the direct benefits from the oil and gas to the communities, I think everything we've been talking about here is directly benefiting our communities. And besides what we have discussed here today, which are jobs, capacity building, etc., the revenues that will be generated from this industry is the government money to use for its development agendas, of which some are schools, hospitals, etc. So the community, the Namibian nation, will benefit in any manner. So with the taxes and royalties, the benefits were only going to be those that are driven by the government. But with the local content policy, in addition to that, it will be jobs, it will be scholarships, it will be the business participation that will be enabled by this policy that will be now recruiting the Namibians and all this. So I think the Namibians will benefit directly and indirectly through this policy and beyond. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah.
Sorry. You answered the question partly, but for instance, you know the scenarios on the ground. It's all of us who are not literate to draft a policy, to put up a company, to run a company successfully. There are people that does not have those skills. You understand? And they will not benefit from these things. Now, how will we ensure that grassroots people will benefit from that? You answered it partly, but I understand what you are.
Yeah, thank you. Let me just see how best I can enrich the response. Earlier I mentioned that this policy is speaking to different stakeholders. First of all, it speaks to the operators, which are the license holders. It speaks to the service companies, which are being contracted by the operators. It speaks to the academia, the training institutions. It speaks to the financial sector, the banks that are there to give, the financial assistance for people to, get the opportunities from this particular sector. It speaks to the insurance sectors as well. And basically, it speaks to a wide range of, stakeholders. So this policy is a framework that basically tells those stakeholders that you need to come to the table. You need to bring your side. Financial sector avail products that can assist Namibians that wants financing and wants to get directly involved, provide, that mechanisms. We speak to the operators, the oil companies, to say that if you employ workers, make sure that you employ Namibians. If the skills are not there, there is Petro Fund that is there to basically provide the scholarships to train the Namibians. And the funding from that comes from the operators. So you speak basically in this policy to a wide range of audiences. And for that, it is very important because you do not want to have government on its own to take that responsibility. This should be a collective responsibility. This sector is a huge sector, and we all need to play a meaningful part. The service companies also need to come in, and that is where most of the work lies, the opportunities lies. Those service companies are the ones that are employing, the people that are working on the rigs, the people that are basically providing what we call the low-hanging fruits. That is also what the policy is trying to address to. So those are the direct opportunities that we are talking about. And on the issue of the timelessly sharing of the policy, I have to apologize. I was under the impression that when we sent out the invites, the letters and the media information, there is a slot where you can basically have access to the policy. If that wasn't seen, I sincerely apologize on behalf of the team. But that is basically what we are doing when we set out the invites to the different regional authorities. We send a letter and we also published it on our social media platforms to say we are going to be in this particular town for venue. Please contact your local authorities or your governor's office, and this is the link where you can have access to the policy. I've seen that, and I'm again apologize if that wasn't forthcoming and that wasn't seen. But please, for the viewers also out there, please, the information is out there. Just go to the websites, download the policies so that when we visit your regions, that you already have, the policy with you, and that you can meaningfully create, a dialogue for us to engage in with. Thank you.
Thank you for my opportunity to raise my concern. I am Willem Josephat Isaacs. I'm representing the Nama Indigenous Peoples Forum in Namibia. my contribution is, we applied in February to be recognized as a Nama Indigenous Peoples Small Miners Association and SA Employers Federation. But the application is declined because of the mere factor about the name Nama Indigenous. So the Minister of the Labour Commissioner requires for me, saying that I'm violating Section 10 of the Namibian Constitution, where I am using the name Nama Indigenous as a discriminatory thing. So the name is discriminating and our applications is declined. The ministry further goes, of the Labour Commission further goes and gives me a letter on Monday. Because I was replying and they give feedback on Monday that I have to meet them in the court. What I observe is, and my question is, when you are saying Oshovambo and Nama basins, and if I am taking the discriminatory decline on the name, my question to this meeting is, the name you use, Nama and Oshovambo Basin, where are you qualifying in terms of discrimination? Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question.
I thank you so much. I'm not sure if I got the question or the concern or the contribution quite well, but it seems that the issue is the names seem to sound discriminatory. I think, on the contrary, it's a name of pride, isn't it? It's a name of identity, isn't it? So we shouldn't see it in a negative, but rather on the positive. When we talk about the Nama Basin, we talk about, a geological area where certain people are vested, right? So I think it's an issue of pride. We shouldn't see it in a negative. It's identity. And identity is very important in Namibia. So I don't know whether I've answered the question or give feedback, but I think we need to pride ourselves from where we are and what we stand for. Thank you.
It's good that you are receiving questions here, but we also need recommendations. Please. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Matthew Velskun from Warmbat, capital of the South. First of all, I want to compliment and my sincere gratitude towards the team and that they have reached out to us. And as you look to the attendance list, then you will see that we represent even rural areas, Arwap, Kwes, all over. With that, I mean that is our interest to see how we can benefit from this initiative. What we mean with that is, if I have sat down and narrated on this thing, and I have seen that we have to look beyond oil and gas. We have to look at the impact of oil and gas on the whole economic emancipation that will have on the community. It will bring definitely the issue of health, urbanization. Definitely, we have to look to Lutherans. Majority of us will now run to Lutherans because there is job opportunities now in Lutherans. But what we have to say is we have to expand now in Lutherans the health sector, the educational sector, shops. Town councils have to be accountable now for land. But the bureaucratic system of us is killing us. Because if you have to apply for land in order to build houses, you have to wait for 3 years, 2 years, whatever it is. So bring that. Now the speed up. I have listened, I've looked into your 2040 and I've seen that it's just 15 years from now. It's not long enough. I mean, it's just now around the corner, then it's 2040. Do we have is the roads infrastructure there? Is Roads Authority on board? We have to call upon the stakeholders like Roads Authority, local authority, regional council, the governor's office to come on board and to take part become partakers in this journey. In the absence thereof, then we will definitely go we will definitely go towards a world because we have to get now land available for housing and whatever. Then my concern is about what will going to happen with the expansion of the port in Lutherans. That's the first obstacle that we are facing. The Shark Island and the hydrogen and the oil and gas. Here it's NTLA towards this genocide issue. Where can we come in? How do we address issues, sensitive issues such as that? Where we get loggerheads with each other so far as expansion and so far as development is concerned. The Shark Island is there. It's one of the burning points now, right now. Can you just slowly update us regarding that expansion of the port as well as NTLA on coming on board? Because it seems that as I've read it and captured it, that thing cannot be going to Walvis Bay. Yeah, that is what I've captured. The information that I got is if there is still an issue, then that initiative will go to, then it means that it's again, dan mis ons uit, kom ek praat die woord, Afrikaans nou. Nou, ek kom nou na my, dan mis ons uit aan hierdie geleentheid wat ons kan gekry het. Dan meen dat onze kinders sal weer, ons praat nou van unemployment. En waar is ons met hy NTLA, Shark Island, genocide en Lutherans Town Council, the regional, how far is the regional council involved in that issues?
Thank you. I don't really want to comment on the issue that you mentioned, NTLA and so on, but what I want to say is that it is the objective of government to bring development to the people. It is the objective of government to bring the oil and gas sector to Lutherans. And by facilitating that process, there needs to be infrastructure in place. Namport has got the mandate to set up a port in Lutherans, and they have got their own, or they have their idea of where they would want to set up the port. And of course, there were some issues that was coming up surrounding that particular matter. I don't have the details of that, but what I can say is that the whole idea of the objective is to bring development. And when development comes, there is a lot of benefits that accrue from that. If you have a proper port in Lutherans, Lutherans does not have a proper port that can facilitate all the sectors or the industries that is there. There is, the fishing sector, I think to an extent. Also there's the manganese, and now there's the oil and gas sector that also wants to play a crucial part in that. But the port currently is very small. So for us to meaningfully capture this opportunity, we need to expand the port so that the company that is there, currently Total, also has the ability to grow its activities there. And when it grows its activities, it means there's more opportunities coming, for employment and businesses, etc. And also with the port expansion, you then have also other companies like the likes of the Shells, Chevron, Rhino, whoever is currently drilling in the Orange Basin, to set up their base also in the Orange Basin. That means that it will be then easier for them to operate from Lüderitz as opposed to them having to operate at the Orange Basin and then going to Walvis Bay for their supply issues for goods and services and so on. So there's an opportunity that can potentially be missed out if, government's objectives of bringing development to Lüderitz is not fully supported at all levels. And if you have all the sectors, all the operators based in Lüderitz at that particular port when it is fully expanded, then you have employment. Like I said, if all the companies, all the majors that are involved in the Orange Basin, if they have to set up their base there, I can assure you Lüderitz is too small for everybody else to get employed. Employment will have to come from other areas, especially Keetmanshoop, Oranjemund, all other areas, even in the rest of Namibia. So you need to ensure that, the objectives of bringing development is supported so that we can benefit. And I think that is all that I can say in that regard. Let us support and let us ensure that, developments come to the South because we really need it. We want to eradicate poverty. We want to bring meaningful participation of our locals also part and parcel of this. We don't want to see, like you're correctly saying, the industry moving to Walvis Bay, and then we are losing out here. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mohammed Friedrich. I'm a youth activist, member of Keetmanshoop Youth Initiative, and the circuit coordinator for Young People's Ministries, ELCRN. I'd like to start off by saying the policies are put in such a way that it creates room for corruption and theft to take place. If it's not specifically, if something is not specifically put, like the following that I want to say. For consultations, it says that the companies needs to do consultations, or whichever organization needs to do consultations. But we have scenarios where only 3 out of 10 members of the public join these consultations, and then it's already, those 3 out of 10 people represent the whole of that community, because it only says that consultations need to be done. I ask that when these consultation policies be put in such a way that it allows that at least more than 50% of the community needs to be at those consultations for the community's voices to be heard. Because now I can call my friends and tell them, you need to be at those consultations so we can put this thing or get this thing off and get this thing running. It creates room for corruption. Also, in procurement and bid for tenders and the process thereof, if we don't specifically say the whole process, how it should be done, it also creates room for corruption, and that's not what we want. I'd suggest that we follow what our former regional, the governor of Kharas Region did with the funeral, regional funeral of our late president, Honorable Hage Geingob. He posted on his social media that there's a bid for tenders. He also posted the whole process from the start until the finish. When people applied, the people that were shortlisted, the people that were successful and everything. So the community could then have access to these things and know, this person is also part of the committee that it's making these assessments or decisions. Why are they on the list? We can, as a community, say that why put this player on board? Is this not an act of corruption? So I want this policy to speak directly or to say directly that no, this is the process that needs to be done. If you need to do consultation, do it. The advertisement needs to take maybe 14 days in advance. There needs to be attendance of, if not 51 or 60% of the actual people that stays in that community. Things like that. I hope you are getting what I'm trying to say. Secondly, I'd also like to, what my councillor said about how we are benefiting. If I, for instance, as a person, as an individual, find oil on my land or on my farm, a land that I own, how am I benefiting from that? As a person, how is my community benefiting from that? And how is my region benefiting from that? If there's not a policy in that regard, please take it up, like you said. Thirdly, I'd like the social responsibility part. I'd also like policies to speak on that, because it says that all companies, all organizations needs to give the social responsibility, and that they end up giving 500 sanitary pads. They end up sponsoring a trip to South Africa or whatever. But then, is that sustainable? Is it sustainable? I'd like the policy to speak and say that no, if you are going to be operating in this field, your social responsibility should be in such a way that we need to see infrastructures, we need to see buildings, hospitals, clinics, we need to see the roads are being constructed, we need to see scholarships and things like that. Not the 1,000 goes to the sanitary pads and then the rest of the revenue goes to wherever they are coming from. Yes, and also I'd like to ask that for consultations like this, it's very impactful, and sometimes we don't get the opportunity to give the feedback, to give our points. So if there is perhaps some sort of, we have Google Forms and things like that, if we can have something like that set up, so we can also, if we didn't get the opportunity to maybe contribute in those platforms as well, whether it's through email or the Google Form platforms, to contribute and then maybe get responses. I thank you.
Thank you very much. That was the youth activist for Keetmanshoop, Muhammad. And if I may just add, we are privileged to inform you that we will have still a week for us to give inputs with regards to the local content policy, and an email will be shared with the rest of the team before we disperse.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emma Abet, and I'm the Regional Coordinator for National Youth Council. I love what our activist said, that when we have such consultations, we really need to make sure that most of the community members are here. But then I'm just discussing here with my fellow colleague, just to say, we started well in the morning. We were so many in the morning, but now it's almost half of everyone is gone. So really, as much as we want things to work from the government side, we also need to bring our part. We need to give recommendation. We started well, but recommendations are not. So we need to see that at times, as much as we want to identify the problem is up there, we need to have committed people that are going to stay towards the end. We want to thank you so much for your presentation, the technical side, and the whole policy in depth. Really, I enjoyed it, and I learned something new. So before I came here, I engaged my fellow youth because National Youth Council is made up of youth from the 7 constituencies in the region. So we asked them a few questions, and one of those comments that we got is, we really want to thank Her Excellency that the oil and gas is under the sector or under the office of the president. And that is a move in the right direction. That is what we think. But then the questions that came out of there or of the group are just 2 questions. And one, I think, is particularly to the son of the soil, Mr. McLeod. Maybe it was answered, but we want an answer. And I know that they are watching on TV right now or on YouTube. The first question, Mr. McLeod, is what steps is the Namibian government taking to ensure transparent licensing and regulation in the oil and gas sector? You spoke about the state, we are the state and all that, but now, Mr. McLeod, what steps is the government taking to ensure transparent licensing and regulation in the oil and gas? And the last question is, what role can the local youth groups in Kharas Region now play in monitoring transparency and accountability in the sector? Then the second question I'd like to repeat is, what role can the local youth organizations play in monitoring transparency and accountability in the sector? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that contribution. To our panel, do you want to take that on?
Yeah, and I just also want to draw your attention to Honorable Isaacs has a question, so we shouldn't forget about him. I think he's been having his hand on for the longest. Thank you for the question to the madam at the back. Very good questions. What steps is government taking into ensuring that the licensing regime or the licensing processes are transparent? Yeah, so if you if you manage to get time, I want you to visit the Ministry of Industries, Mines and Energy website. It is going to be, transparent. It is going to be online. People, the members of the public will have access to see who is applying and what is the person applying. As far as petroleum is concerned, we have at the moment kind of stopped issuing licenses. And the reason basically is that we want to enhance and we want to ensure that there is a better smoothing process, there is better transparency, there is better articulation of how we would want to handle the licensing process. So all those are efforts that we are currently seized with, and we are going to, at one point in time, announce to the public that now for oil and gas or upstream petroleum applications, this is our position, it is now open, and this is the processes that needs to be followed. So we are seized with that. It is important, like I said, that this administration is all about making sure that, transparency and accountability and everything that is good for the Namibians are put out there. Her Excellency kept on saying that we are too few to be poor. And that is exactly what we are trying to achieve, to ensure that whatever resources that we have must maximize and must be done in a process where trust is the cornerstone of that. Thank you. Then there was an issue of what role can the local youth organizations play in monitoring the transparency. Louis, do you have an answer to that? No, please, you may go ahead. Actually, that's everybody actually has a role to play, not necessarily the youth. And everybody has got that inherent right to speak up and seek for answers where things are not clear. And that is why our systems and our processes needs to be open. It needs to be transparent. So I cannot pinpoint exactly as to how the youth should take part. It's very difficult for me to say that. What I can say is that it is upon the onus is upon government to ensure that things are done transparently. And once it is done transparently, then the issue of accountability comes in, where you now keep us, honest by asking the right questions and questioning why this and why that. I think that is all I can say. It's all about government being transparent and open and creating that avenues for open dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I have got one or two. Firstly, I would like to speak on the point of our elder here before we go for lunch break. As our previous administration or our late president, Dr. Hagegen Gob, said, no one must feel left out. But somewhere, somehow, we also feel as if we are left out. Because in most initiatives, we are just hearing the youth and the elders, and some of us on the middle age. We are not being included. The upper age. Yes. We are not included. It's just the youth every time. There is the time that if we may recall the time of capital projects, we had our local companies which were also awarded some capital projects, of which they failed to deliver. And I'm made sure that it was most of the companies who get some capital projects, they were somehow not business-minded individuals. That's why they could just make 1, 2 before the end of the project. After 2 million, he ran away, go buy the Amarok. And the project unfinished. We ended up acquiring some companies from outside to come and finish our jobs. And the local companies, they are now being sidelined. Still now we are talking of the youth projects. Youth projects, we are 100. I'm sure that is not everyone who is going to get these grants, going to deliver or be the next 20 years employment provider. Us who are now on the upper age, we are the ones who are now, like now as I'm standing here, I'm already a grandfather. Children, a grandfather to someone who is the parents, they are early 20s. The child is at home. They are the ones who are being considered as responsible for now to get the grants. They have never been in business projects that they can see what is the market look like. At the end of the day, they will again going to be roaming the streets looking for jobs. When us who are taking care of their children, we are being put aside. Oh, my name is Kopelo Sabano for Kwetu Investment. That is one of my points. But secondly, I wanted to ask for the oil industry. We wanted to know, according to the policy, how much of the percentage of the production percentage is going to be refined inland or in Namibia before the mass exportation of raw crude oil, as it is always done in most of the African countries, because in Africa we are always the exporters of raw material. So how much, according to the policy, the percentage which is going to be refined in the country for SADC consumption or our country? Thank you very much.
I think, like it was said by all the speakers today, this policy is just an enabling document for Namibia to take or to seize this opportunity. So what the policy is doing is encouraging in-country value addition, of which one is refining the crude oil in Namibia. So the policy is basically just encouraging me and you and every other investor. We are making the environment conducive for investors to come and add value to this crude oil that we are producing in Namibia. So, and within the policy also, because it's just an intent, it's a high-level document, we are not stipulating any percentages for anything, and we are also not saying within this policy that we are constructing a refinery. But what we are saying is that we are encouraging investments into value addition activities, of which one is a refinery. So we don't have a specific answer. We don't have a percentage that we don't have a decision as government that we are building a refinery of this much at this point in time. But if you are an interested investor, you have that appetite, the policy is encouraging such investments. We'll do everything to ensure that as a Namibian local content company, we will ensure that you get affordable financing and everything else that you will need, or will make the environment conducive for you to operate within the Namibian borders, if you have that initiative or if you have that interest.
Thank you very much, Ms. Louise. I will hand over the platform for another question.
Thank you. All right. I also have a small contribution. Just as I am listening and then looking at our objective today, to contribute, to ask questions, to give recommendation. I also have the opinion that Namibia government is in the business of making policies. And sometimes we fail to see the implementation of the policies. I would like to foresee also what we can bring into this document that will give the state a positive duty to see to it that we need to come to the implementation. For instance, let me give you the decentralization policy. We have and it is actually concurrent or going along with Decentralization Enabling Act. And I can rest assure you, as a regional government, we are in a unitary state. And the unitary state has introduced a Decentralization Act, or Enabling Act and policy. And as a result of that, we have decentralized functions, whereby certain functions are delegated. But this delegation did not really happen because we are only given reports from the line ministries that has been decentralized, like education, like health, like gender, and so forth. And they never decentralize this policy of the delegation. We never go to the point of delegation or devolution of these functions. Now, for me, that is one concern I'm raising. In as much as we are thinking about or in pursuit of this economic sector, we need to be mindful of our policy drafting and the content thereof. You see, one of the things I would like to see in the policy framework is the environment for our local entrepreneurs, the environment for our SMEs, because the competition is very high, and sometimes the big guns might play out our smaller SMEs. So one need to look at that one. You see, in terms of the government, we talk about procurement, and procurement is everywhere. There is always a cumbersome processes that precedes the giving of tenders. One need to really sit down and see what we can do. Other thing is, our green hydrogen sector has came in and has already, before it even commenced or started, they have recruited applicants for bursaries to go and study. I don't know the companies that has been given these offers, or the companies that is dealing with this drilling and exploration, whether they also will start by doing the skills transfer towards our young people and also the upper age, as it is been said. So I'm just thinking about this is also a foreign sector. We are not really used to it. We are now, it's an emerging sector. We are going to learn a lot, and a lot of skills will be needed. And I know that if the oil is now in its full capacity and operation, already, while we are talking about local content, we will be forced or compelled to bring in experts to run the sector. And sometimes it's difficult and complex to just integrate those people that have came, because all of us have rights. Therefore, and I don't think that will be a policy directive, but an advice towards the company to see to it, and so that we can, because we are talking about millions or billions even for that matter, to cater for skills transfer program in the sense of bursaries, so that we can already send. And when we are taking that, remember what happened here in Kharas. The first intake of 100 students were from other regions. This region was excluded. We are just using experiences. And then there was a second intake. It's where myself have confronted the late president, may his soul rest in peace, and said, we are excluded. We are not part and parcel. Your campaign message was, no one will be left out. It was one Namibian house. And that day, His Excellency, Dr. Heisekengop, stood up in Lutherans and said, the next round will be exclusive for Kharas and Hardap. And if you could read in the newspapers and everywhere else, we were currently having applications for the third round, and it was exclusive for Kharas and Hardap. Although it is not equitable, but there was that attempt that we were preferred because of the previous exclusion. So I would like to say that maybe we need also to look into that area when we also cater for the skills transfer or for these bursary programs, if the companies then include in their own policy objective to empower our young people, our prospective employees there, that they must also think about equitability, or perhaps prefer our young people or our students in those programs and absorb them accordingly. I shall thank you.
can give the mic to the Petrofund colleague.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for those inputs. They are very important. Firstly, I think it's important to encourage our learners to pursue science-related fields. If we really want our communities to also benefit from this emerging industry, we need to just tell our students, let them follow, let them pursue science courses. Why are we saying that? We have seen that very few, and especially from our southern part, are really taking up these courses. And just during lunch, I was talking to the newly appointed Director of Education, Mr. Ayman. He has been a close friend of Petrofund. He knows the procedure is set in interview panels of the Petrofund when we interview candidates for scholarships. We have seen a very low uptake from the southern part of the country. And one way we can mitigate this is to encourage them, or our learners or our children, to pursue science-related courses, because that way you benefit the scholarships, because you qualify by meeting the minimum requirements for you to get the scholarship. Now, Petrofund was founded back in 1992, even before the country discovered oil. And why was this institution formed? The government of the Republic of Namibia was very visionary to say, look, one day Namibia will discover oil. And rightfully so, we have seen discoveries in the land of the brave. And once the fund was funded, it was tasked with preparing Namibians from all corners of this country with different specialized skills ranging from geology or geosciences, your engineering, and all that, so that they can get the necessary qualifications to participate in the oil and gas industry. And this is the skills that we are speaking about. So Petrofund has been providing these scholarships over the years. I think the colleagues have mentioned that since our establishment, we have trained over 432 Namibians, spending over 115 million Namibian dollars on this project. Now, Petrofund is funded by all the operators that have a license with the government of the Republic of Namibia to explore appraisals and production. So they give us this money to manage, to ensure that we train our people. We have officially opened the scholarship program for this year. This started in July, the beginning of August, and it's closing on the 7th of October at 1 o'clock. So please encourage your children to apply. We want to see more people coming from Kharas Region, from the Hartab region, because that's where we see the low uptake. And also, what we have done differently this year is we said we will send the application forms to your regional leadership. And your acting chief regional officer has confirmed to me this morning that they have received these applications, and we have asked them to take it further to distribute in all constituencies, so that our honorable councillors, our honorable chairpersons of the regional councils, to also amplify the message on our behalf. Because when your community hears the message from their leaders, they believe it more. So we want to hear and receive applications. We are doing scholarships from undergraduate to postgraduate. Undergraduate, we build the primary courses, your geologies, your engineering. Postgraduate, we are dealing with your specialized courses. You can have petroleum geology, petroleum engineering, oil and gas in law, specialized courses that the sector needs. We have gone an extra mile to even deploy TVET students. As we are speaking now, we have 13 students that we are sponsoring in this very same town of Keetmanshoop at Niemt. If you have followed very carefully, we have advertised at the beginning of the year and we have given scholarships to 13 Namibians. And I'm happy to say that some of them are from the great region of Kharas and the Hardap region. We are also very deliberate because we want to see our Namibians from this side benefit. It's very important because I think the conversation that took place, the call that is always coming out there is to say, where are our people? Are they benefiting? And this is what we are doing. And also in our current scholarships, not only in Namibia, we have students across the world that are also coming from your region, that are also benefiting. I think my good sir here came to me and said, thank you very much. My sister's daughter is studying at the University of Cape Town, thanks to Petrofund. Skills development, as I conclude, I don't want to take much of your time, is critical. Now, we have good partnerships with what we call your operators. Your operators are your Shells, Total, Galp, Chevron. Your service companies, your Halliburtons, your Schlumberger or SLBs, etc. They have very strong relationship with Petrofund. What we do is we have what we call a CV database, right? You don't need to be a scholarship beneficiary of Petrofund. As long as you have the different skills that are needed for the oil and gas industry, you deposit your CV into that database. What we do is we take these students and we deploy them to these different companies. I'm happy to inform you that even the latest with Technip FMC, from this CV database, they are taken into these bases, into these sites, trained and deployed in different countries where operations are taking place. We have Nigeria, we have Angola, which is close by, we have France. And I'm telling you as we are speaking now, 16 Namibians from the first cohort are already employed by this company due to that program. We have even taken it further to say, yes, you have done welding, yeah? There is also a specific requirement for welding for the oil and gas sector, right? So you need an upscale. We have taken Namibians, we have deployed them to Angola to get a specialized course. We have taken some to Indonesia, fully funded, to benefit from this, so that they are deployed in these different sites. So, ladies and gentlemen, the opportunities are there. We need to share this message with our people. We cannot do it on our own. We are there, yes, as a government body to serve this function, but we want the community to help us champion these initiatives so that the people even from the south or from anywhere in the country can benefit. Petrofund does not require any of our recipients, beneficiaries to pay back. We don't require that. We only require them of one special thing. Be patriotic, come back to this country and work in this country. That is our requirement. So there are activities ongoing. As the sector is growing, upskilling is needed, internships are happening as we speak. We just want Namibians to have the interest and participate. And what we have done also very carefully, we always encourage them to have your primary courses so that when the sector is at a low tide, you are able to also work in other sectors. Because we need to also ensure the issue of unemployment is fixed. We don't want to train people for the unemployed market. We want them to work. Because now as we're speaking, these companies have been very proactive. Without contracts, They are already training our people. And I think we should give credit for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Petrofund. My takeaway from there is, and this is very important, there needs to be an enhanced information sharing and awareness. And this information needs to filter down from central government to the local authorities, and from the local and the regional authorities to the communities. We really want to see the communities, the children of Kharas, also benefiting from these opportunities. It is very important. I myself was a beneficiary of Petrofund, and I'm proud to say that, when I got this scholarship, I got an admission to do a master's program in oil and gas at one of the very, very, very prestigious universities in Scotland. It's the University of Aberdeen, where I did a master's in oil and gas. And I wouldn't have enabled myself to do that if it wasn't for Petrofund. So Petrofund needs to be commended. They are doing a very, very, very good thing, Yeah. And like the gentleman said, that there is no obligation, there is no requirement. You just need to apply and make sure that you meet the requirements for you to benefit from it. But once you are the recipient and you come back, it's just to plow back that qualifications and gain the meaningful experience from that. That is what I understand. So please, let us make sure that we reach out to every young person in the Kharas region. Let them apply. I think the application closes on 7th October. Yeah. So please, let us put our hands together and apply. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. McLeod, and also Mr. Shoki Kanjimi for that insightful information. We have a contribution from Mr. Erickson. I'll hand over the mic.
Thank you very much. My name is Erickson. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm coming from Baden Financial Services and EJ Power Engineering. I'm just having few contributions, but the first one, I have a question regarding these license holders. What are they contributing to our people? But firstly, I want to face the one that are ordinary, or they that are coming from our country, not the outsiders. We want to see them doing like others that are from outside. And also my contribution is that we want to see NANCO doing things differently. What do I mean is that we want to see infrastructures that are coming from them without government involvement. For example, we want to see a clinic that was built by NAMCO only, and also this, what are the mechanisms that NAMCO has for these investors that are coming in our country? We understand they are paying taxi and other to the government, but we want to see them developing our country because they are getting money or resources from our country to go develop their country. We want to see them, apart from what they are giving to the government, they should have something that demonstrates to us that we accommodate them here, we hospitalize them, so we want to see them also doing something for us. For example, we want to see them doing our road. For example, even the road from Keetmanshoop to Arwab, it should be done by them as well. We should have something in place that imposed to them that we want to see them contributing to us. Apart from scholarship and others, we want to see social, economic development of our people. And also the Namibians that are going to get tenders or the that are going to get license. We don't want just to see them building mention of themselves, but we have those that are unable to build that for themselves. They should be able to help their Namibian as well. So within your mandate or within your program, we should have that strictly policy that they should contribute back to their people. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Erickson. For the interest of time, we'll be taking a few more hands.
Afternoon, everybody. My name is Henley. I like to join these sessions. It's my habit. And in fact, I've been here several times at this venue. As much as efforts and resources are being mobilized to conduct these sessions, same must be done. Efforts must be done, and resources must be mobilized to conduct seminars, on concepts. Concepts are being used at these venues, which communities people have no idea about. People do not understand. What does it mean? Accountability versus responsibility, transparency versus confidentiality, authority versus power. We need clear answers, clear explanations on these concepts. Corporate governance, what does it entail? We need explanations on these concepts. What must be done, actually, what needs to be done is, as I have alluded to earlier, efforts must be done and resources must be mobilized to conduct seminars on corporate governance. The functions of the board of directors, the company formations, types of companies, board of directors, the qualifying criteria of the directors, the board committees, company registrations, the shareholder structure, the minimum shares, the geographic area of jurisdiction of the company, for example, in its region, where people who do not ordinarily participate in these initiatives can be encouraged, mobilized, and supported, through, for example, legal service, investment service, so that they can also take part. Normally, what happens is, for example, financial institutions are mainly concentrating on established businesses when they are conducting, when they are giving service, mentoring services, and those who do not own business, for that matter, are being excluded, as has been referred to in this session. Ladies and gentlemen, the issue of exclusion will continue, and the cycle will continue as long as those who are excluded are not being included or are not being enlightened on these concepts I just referred to. Another issue is there is also issue of old people who are on retirement or who are on pension. As we know, old people are reservoirs of knowledge. We need to make use of their expertise in many ways. Besides that, retirees or pensioners do have risk capital that can be mobilized to start companies I just referred to. I mean, that would be a more effective way to deal with issue of exclusion. And by the way, they will also build generational wealth for their offsprings. Yes. But another issue was issue of breaching school. Okay, here the issue was mentioned about education or scholarships. But I also observed on numerous occasions that most of them, those school dropouts are being excluded. Now there is no mechanism in place to bring them in line, for them to be able to improve their grades, so that they can also benefit from scholarships, as was referred to now by the gentleman next to me. Now, as long as that mechanism is not in place, the exclusion will continue to prevail. But I'm thankful, I'm happy to announce that, for example, what was done by Hyphen Africa, Green Hydrogen Africa, must be emulated by the energy companies. Or yes, they have done a great job to try to include those school dropouts as well. Okay, another one, the issue, either they can use existing school breeding schools, or they can build new ones. It can be done even in all 14 regions. Another one is the issue of value addition, suppliers. Yes, I'm done. Suppliers, I'm a supplier as part of local content policy. But what I am supplying, has it been produced or manufactured in Namibia? We need a mechanism in place we need to adopt a protectionist approach, so that whoever wants to do business with, for example, tomato, businessmen who wants to do business with tomato must invest in Namibia. For example, in Zambia, if you want to do business with sugar, you go invest there. There's no import of sugar in Zambia. See.
Thank you very much.
Last one. Yes. Okay. Am I done?
Thank you very much.
Okay. No. Last one. Okay, guys. There must be a specific fund. For example, let's say one lady was referring to issue of water, sanitation, housing. So the revenue from oil is being deposited in that fund, and being used for housing, sanitation, water. If that can happen, I don't think in towns there will be informal settlements. Everybody will live in a brick house. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that contribution. All your comments have been noted. We do have rapporteurs on site. I have 2 more hands after the lady here.
Good afternoon. My name is Agnes Marasha from Ministry of Education, Directorate of Youth Development. I just want to contribute in my concern. Since we are talking about these projects, I listened to my brother when he was mentioning regarding we need to encourage our southern students to take science. That one I disagree. It's not like they are not studying science. Our youth here in the Kharas region, they are studying science since the new curriculum started 2020. Mathematics compulsory up to grade 12. This morning I was chatting with the director, I think he left the venue, the director of education. I'm so worried. I've been working here almost 22 years in the Kharas region. I remember 2016, the recruitment of the Nectal Dam. I was one of the board members for the recruitment committee. Kharas region, we could not find a geologist here in the Kharas region. It was too hard for us to find qualified geologists here in the Kharas region. This is a national project we are talking. But to some of us, most of the time we are talking the word like, us from the Kharas region, we are exclusive, which is not the case. Are we finding the core, the ground, what is making our youth, our young people not to meet the criteria? This morning, I even tell the director what I pick up here in the Kharas region when it's coming to science subjects, especially like mathematics, chemistry, and physics. Our learners, they are not performing. I do not know where we are lacking the same syllabi, national-wide, the same question paper, national-wide. It's one student sitting in Zambezi, Rundu, or Hangwena, they are getting A and B. You come to our Kharas region, they are getting E. Where we are lacking there. I told the director this morning, we are sitting with qualified teachers. Those who have been studying even in our SADC countries, Zimbabwe, Zambia, those are the best schools. Qualified mathematics, physics, science teachers. They are unemployed, they are in the street. I remember Pieka de Valley, 2009 to 2014. There's one of the teachers was coming from Zimbabwe, graduate, science subjects. I do not know, due to this tribalism. Those years, the learner at Pieka de Valley, we can go back to the file, you can find the statistic. The learner, they were passing. But after the talks, this teacher was transferred back to Kavango region because they don't like. Yes. We need to find out the solution. When we are talking things, we are not talking like our kids. Like right now, the requirement, even the criteria here, you find non-skills, skills, or graduate, undergraduate. I saw like the time for the Nectil Dam. We recruit even general worker. From there, luckily, the Italiana, they were trying even to negotiate. Let's take all of them, then we see we can give training while they are there at the work site. Then they have to separate them, non-skilled, skills, until they come to be skilled. Like to us here in the Kharas region, we can talk, we can blame the government. We are not solving the solution. It starts back with education. If our learner, they are ending school grade 9, grade 10, 11, with 8, with 10 points. They are rewriting NAMCO. Still, they are not performing. We have to find out. I remember even last year we were talking with our president when she wanted also to understand the syllabi. Why if the kids at the north, they are performing, coming to the south and they are not performing? And it's the same syllabi. If it's for us really to relook at, even the requirement now, I'm hearing, is too much, 30 points. And these kids are already failed. They cannot make it. It's not like they are not studying science. They are trying their level best. They are doing science. Like when we are screening their application, their CV, like majority of them, like our ministry, we are just sending them to be forced for army, police, national youth service. It's all what we are doing now. And I pity really some of the youth, you can see, they were trying their best. They have 18 points, maybe 15. I remember during our parents, grade standard A or standard 10 those years, some with 15 points, they were becoming teachers. I remember even our senior teacher was sitting here. Those years. But I do not know. We have to go back, especially like here in the Kharas region. As long as we'll be complaining, we'll be talking, we have to, the education, we need to correct it. Start with education. It's not like our children, they are not doing science. I thank you.
Thank you very much for that contribution. We have one more here.
Thank you so much. I'm Liberta Capere from NAMDEP. Thank you so much. I think earlier my honorable councillor mentioned NAMDEP as an example in terms of a partnership between government and an investor, De Beers that works. And I think government probably has to look into what is it about this partnership that makes it work, because it has been in existence for over 30 years. So what exactly is it that makes a 50-50 partnership work, where directors are both 50-50 from government and the investor, where employment practices are fully and 100% aligned to the labor laws of our country. And where one looks at expatriates, Namdeb has one work permit holder. So obviously there's something that is being done that works. And it's a government baby. But I don't see government coming and looking at this partnership, the minerals agreement, the shareholders agreement. What is it in those agreements that work, that can be emulated in the upstream part of the industry? And then also when it comes to our SMMEs, yes, it's encouraging that we have them participating in cleaning, in laundry, and so on. But it's also important that we start getting them in where the money is, the industrialization part, the equipment part. Because I can speak from the mining industry side, where goods are procured that are quite expensive. It still needs to be sourced from outside the country. And the main reason is because it's not available locally. So as government, there needs to be something that needs to be done to make sure that when this industry moves from exploration into production and into refineries, that machinery can be maintained in Namibia, in the Kharas region, that safety boots can be manufactured in Namibia, in the Kharas region. Even hard heads at times need to be imported from South Africa. And then the other thing is, sometimes when we want to procure from local industries, the speed with which we do things counts against us. So when an order is placed with a local industry, because we also need to import from elsewhere, it takes time. We need to look at how do we help these industries to do things more efficiently. And we don't need to compete at times. If there's 4 cleaning companies, sometimes form a consortium. Let's not compete with one another at all times, because these industries are huge. A small one-man or one-woman entity might not be able to deliver what they need. So how do we help these entities that are currently in existence to get into marriages of convenience? Yes, the one can supply cleaning, the other one transport, but it's a consortium where we don't compete necessarily with one another. And the other thing is also, I take it that obviously for government, it's a strategic imperative. That's why it is sitting in the office of the president. And for me, the one question I have is, there's a company, Epangelo, that was created to take part in these type of industries on behalf of government. What is the role that Epangelo plays with regard to the upstream area? And then also, when it comes to shareholding in entities and local participation, it should not just end up with us getting a dividend as Namibians. We should form part of the decision-making structures of the business. So my sister here was talking about monitoring and evaluation. And really, we should make sure that it is not just a mere tick box exercise, where we really look at substance over form. Yes, you've ticked. You've got 80% Namibian employees. How are we going to make sure that that is actually fact? How are we going to move beyond ticking the boxes and monitoring and evaluating properly and penalizing those entities that are not meeting the requirements of government? And it's commendable that the office of the president and our leadership is engaging stakeholders, is engaging communities. However, we've seen a lot of times that these policy documents, yes, the engagements take place, but it's important that we see the recommendations and the inputs from the communities into these policy documents, into our laws. And then lastly, the previous speaker, one of the speakers was speaking about corporate governance. Putting on my other hat, We have an institution in Namibia called the Namibia Institute of Corporate Governance. And it is important for SMMEs to also join this entity, because there you will get to understand what does a director do? What are the duties of directors? How do I play a part in this 10% entity that I have? How do I, as a minority shareholder, because if you have 10%, unfortunately you are a minority shareholder. And it will be important for you to understand, what are my rights as a minority shareholder? You are not a mere dividend earner. You can participate in governing the entity. So in short, my input. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Can I just comment on what our colleague said about Epangelo mining and the representation when it comes to the mineral resources? When it comes to the oil and gas industry, that is why we are having NAMCO. NAMCO itself is a national petroleum, or rather a national oil company for Namibia. And this is the company that is representing Namibia when it comes to oil and gas. When we are saying NAMCO is having a shareholding in this petroleum exploration licenses, we are saying NAMCO is holding the benefits, or rather the part for the Namibian government. We are now not talking about taxes. We are not talking about loyalties. We are talking about the shareholding of what our country is having in this resource. So NAMCO is that company that is representing the government. Just like you are having a Pangelo mining, representing the government when it comes to this ordinary mining. We're also having NAMCO representing the government when it comes to oil and gas. But I also wanted to comment on, I think he's gone now. He talked about what our license holders are doing for the society. Those are the ones that are operating these licenses. If you heard from Mr. Kanjimi, he said Petrofund is strictly there to train Namibians, sending Namibians to different institutions for them to be qualified for this oil and gas industry, which is simply to make sure that we Namibians are equipped with all the expertise that we need in this industry. Now, most of the funds, if not all, that goes to Petrofund comes from the license holders, or rather the operators. So what we're saying is these operators are the ones that provide Petrofund with the finances, or rather with the funds, for Petrofund to be able to send our people for training. Also, when he mentioned something about NAMCO building infrastructure for the country, for now it's not possible because NAMCO doesn't produce, so NAMCO doesn't get much money coming into its coffers. So we cannot really say NAMCO should start building infrastructure or establishing infrastructure for the society now. It was a bit impossible because we don't have funds. However, NAMCO being a state-owned company, even if we are to enter the production phase, you will see that much of what is coming to NAMCO is passed over onto the government because these are dividends for the government. It is not something that NAMCO takes hostage of. No. Much of what comes to NAMCO goes to the government because NAMCO has to pay dividends to the government since NAMCO is a state-owned company. All right? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shanika, for that. Just to my panelists, can we take one more before we...
Now my words are gone as well, eaten by the others. Sorry. Good afternoon. I don't know whether it's an afternoon. It's afternoon. My name is Keshirode. I'm the deputy. What? My name is Keshirode. Priscilla Keshirode. Okay.
I'm representing education with my colleague, and we are sitting here and we are trying to talk about this, about the education, about what and about what. But I was having some few points that I wanted to hear about the policies. When it comes to the policy of explorations, I wanted more emphasis to be put on environmental impact, the environmental health, when it comes to this story of mining at the offshore there. We might learn that at the end the oil and the water and our fish and. So these things must be taken into cognizance as well to see what can be done to avoid this to happen. I remember when I went to Ausinke, I've learned that people are now there affected by sort of, there is an environmental something that is affecting those people that are closer to where. It's something that we need to take cognizance on that one. Then the other thing is the exploration itself. These people that are coming down to have their mines there, is there a limit, a number, a quantity of, and even the oil quantity that was found, how tons and whatever you may call it, is it tons or that needs to be now taken out. At the end of the day, you might hear that you have contracted now so many people to come and explore there and mining there, but then at the end, it might also have its own impact to the sea and everything. That need to be also taken into consideration. And then on the other part of my colleague who was here saying that us, the citizens, might be left out, and it was said that he can maybe suggest something that needs to be done. And my take on that one is that at least if government can consider this to benefit all, only if they can do, or through the political officers, political bureaus, to say that at least if we are giving this, it should go to the community, whereby the community can be given now grants to uplift themselves, or either to come up with projects that will benefit these communities at their places where they are. Instead of saying that it's an individual with a company who is partnering with this company that is exploring, and then at the end it will be only me and my company and benefiting my own family, to avoid this conflict of interest that is going on with these companies that are coming. And if we can look at that level to say, if we want to benefit all, we take this like we were told here, come and apply for the fishing quotas, what. We ran around, we opened company. Today we are just now registered at NIP. What is the company? BIPA, with these businesses that is just a name there, and only the high-seen people are the ones that are having quotas, They are benefiting those that are having, you understand? If we can look at a way to say, now with this mining story of this oil, let us look at emancipating our grassroots level people. Have something that goes to and benefit them, so that we can say it's for all of us. The last, what was it? Yeah, and the other thing that also creates war is because of this oil story. Nigeria is fighting left and right, and there are wars there. Is that thing to say that, okay, is the president's daughter, is the president's child, is having a chair? At the end, what about my son who's just looking at this one driving a Mercedes car? War will start. So we should try to have our policies that will avoid all these things from happening. And I rest my case. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Vale Humphreys. I will be very short and sweet regarding the Petro Fund. He mentioned that, and generally it's also mentioned that we are putting the information on the websites and those kind of things. Now, I'm coming from rural areas and from rural communities. We are not having such access of, not necessarily information, but we don't have access to devices and technology and those things. So we are lacking information to reach us on time. My request is that maybe we must remind the Ministry of Information and Technology, whatever, to put up centers in the rural areas where we can have free access to information. I thank you.
Thank you very much for that contribution.
I think that's a good contribution. It's noted. Or should we take the last one and then? Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Irene Laberlot. Mine is about indirect benefit. Because at the end of the day, we will not give everyone work and we will not give everyone tenders. So meaning that my suggestion is that maybe in Kharas, the petrol must be cheaper, the fuel, maybe for 5%, and the one staying near the project must maybe buy electricity cheaper also, for of 2% or 5%. That's mine. And then my deputy director is already alluding about the grassroots. The policy is clear, it speaks, but when it comes to requirements, it's when we are left out. So I'm very much concerned about the SMEs. My question is, how will we accommodate SMEs not to be left out when it comes to requirement? Because we have a history that SMEs are left out, and over, only the medium or the PTYs are being empowered. And now currently we are sitting with BIBA that is going to deal against the companies that was not active and so on. So we must also look at the factors, what contribute to it, that we were not empowered or we were not included. So I would say, Susan Afrikaans, ek wil my amper verstoten sê, kan die SMEs nie soort van 'n special treatment gegee word nie. Laat loop pad van die mainstream raak. Van they are left out all along. I can even make an example. When it comes to road authority, for instance, and you apply for a tender, you buy the document for $300. But at the end of the day, you buy the document and it ends up under the bed or somewhere else because you don't meet the requirement. Not necessarily that means that I don't have access to get the document. It's about the requirement at the end of the day. That is my thank you.
Thank you very much for that contribution. So that was the last contribution for the afternoon. Sorry? Yeah, so that's the last contribution for the afternoon. I'll hand over to the panel.
Thank you so much, Lahia. Before we officially move on with the program, I just want to acknowledge all the valuable input that we received. Like I said in my opening speech, we came here to listen. Yes, we answered some of your concerns, some of your questions, but for this document to be enriched, to have the meaningful impact, it is through you, the community, that needs to give the insight and the input. And that is exactly what happened today. And I want to commend you and I want to congratulate you for being active participants in ensuring that, your inputs are heard, making sure that your concerns are raised. And from here, like I said before, we are going to have a validation workshop where all your concerns will be adhered to and will be listened to, and we will see how best we can incorporate them into the final document. So I just want us to give each other just a warm hand of applause for all the hard work that we have done today. Thank you so much. All right, so I think over to you, facilitator. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McLeod. And also, can we give another round of applause for the panel? So we do understand that there were still contributions and recommendations that a few of us may still have within the audience. And that is not a worry, because we do have an email address to which you can continue to be giving your inputs throughout the next 7 days. Our projector has been taken away. However, please, by the time you leave, ensure that you have that email address from any of us before you go home. So the next item on the agenda, please allow me to welcome the Councillor of Oranjemund constituency to give the closing remarks, Honorable Lazarus Nangolo.
Okay, thank you so much, Director of Proceeding, Chairperson of Kharas Region Council, Honorable Isaac, and then the Deputy Commissioner, Mr. McLeod, the Chief Regional Officer, and all the community members who are here. I know you are from different departments. Thank you so much. And Commissioner, with your team, I must say, really, you've done a great job. And I wish most of our consultation in government can always be done like this one. It will really going to help for the community to understand, and also for government to get a proper contribution from the ground. That's why we feel happy that you've done a great job. And in a serious note to the community, you're also contributing accordingly with your open heart. I remember, I think it's the community there, when he talked, some community starting to interfere, but he was courageous to carry on in order to give the message which he wanted to give. And that's what we need to do. On my closing remark, I only having three. A point I wanted, Commissioner, with your team, to take it along and see to it, of course, in collaboration with the Petro Fund. When the chairperson mentioned the issue of that we have been having children, which is not included on the scholarship or the application for the green hydrogen, we made the outcry, and the president heard us. When the president heard us, we gave an opportunity for the children to be able to apply. You heard Ms. Agnes. She was talking about how our children affected in the Kharas region. And that was going to be the same if we did not have a special arrangement like what happened to the green nitrogen. Therefore, I have the three proposals. Proposal number one is going to Petro Fund. Petro Fund, as long as the operator are availing resources for Namibian children or Namibian students to benefit, the impact in our region might not be able to be seen. And there also might be some other region. Hence, I'm feeling, can you make a quota? Can you allocate your fund based on the region? There are all 14 regions. If you are having 4 million that year, and then you say, please, I will divide them, and I will ensure that in every region, I took some of the students to go to becoming a beneficiary of the Petro Fund. My second appeal, second point is directed to the commissioner and her team, his team. Commissioner, our children, even if the possibility of the scholarship or either the sponsor come, they might not be able to benefit because of what Agnes has been mentioning. They might not reach that big requirement. I'm just appealing that maybe we are lucky because we have this oil and the gas in our region. Can you give us a special arrangement? Please. Can you give us a special arrangement so that we can create a special program for the children in our region? And see to it how they can be able to include it on the beneficiation. Then in my last point, I don't know our leader from traditional authority, if they are here. How many are they? Or at least there is two. Our leader, I'm standing here to appeal to you. And I know we are together with all Kharas Council, including our chairperson. We are at the merge to lose opportunity for Rudred's harbor to be extended. Government is willing to expand the Rudred harbor. And remember that without having expansion there is no other way we can be able to have operation take part in Rudred. Otherwise, the operator might go to Wafish Bay, the operator might go what we heard that the possibility for the Santam Bay to be establishing a harbor there is high. Can we be able to reach a consensus and work together with the government in order to speed up the expansion of Rudred's harbor? Because if we done that, then we are speeding up also the operation that took place from that particular area in Rudred's. And by doing so, we keep employment, we keep opportunity in our region. So therefore, I am humbly appeal that if we would like really to see the benefit of our region, let us do so. Of course, yes, people can come up with the engagement. People can come up with the engagement, they informed that this is what we wanted to be seen. And then we reach a consensus and we finalize, then we can have expansion of that harbor. Doing so, it will help the region. Director proceeding, I do not want to keep you longer. I know the day was so long, and I'm really happy that you spent the whole time, especially to the chairperson, the other council, I think they left, but I know there might be also some local authority councillors here, and also political leaders. Because if we are not take that decision, then of course it will be a problem. But thank you so much, Chairperson, with the entire leadership which is available here. And thank you so much, Commissioner. I think this has been one of the best, if it's not ever. So thank you so much, community. And of course, yes, we always belong to God. What I wish you is the blessing day and all the best. I thank you.
Wow, wow. Such a wonderful closing remark. Thank you, Honorable Lazarus Nangolo. On behalf of my team, we would like to really thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to partake in this very important engagement. We have taken note of all your recommendations, inputs. Our rapporteurs have taken note of them. And I would like you to be rest assured of that. Without further ado, if you'd allow me, may we please all stand for the anthem before we close.
Namibian.